Welcome back, everybody. This is the LBT Halo broadcast of HCS Arlington 2023, and we're rounding out today's matchups as we are in this elimination round 2 of the lower bracket. Obviously, it's Quadrant versus Complexity. Incredible matchup. Complexity taking a game off of FaZe in that upper bracket, but ultimately sent here to this matchup.
I have been so impressed with the open bracket teams at HCS Arlington, in particular Complexity, whose tournament run stays alive. Tusk going down for now. SLG with that overshield, and B and C is going to start the scoring for Quadrant, but not after 94 unanswered for Complexity.
Now, you could have corrected me there because I'm totally wrong. It was Cloud9 I had in mind who took that game off of FaZe. Nonetheless, it is Complexity who is left to face with Quadrant, the best of EU, here to prove that they can make even strides from that placement at Dallas. A lot of people had them picked as that top 4. Ultimately, they fell just short of that mark. They're back for more.
And on the flip side of that, with Complexity, they come into DreamHack Dallas with the 5th seed and place top 12. They come into HCS Optic with the 12th seed and are looking at a 5th, 6th finish here in this match.
Oh, you just blew my mind with that parallel back and forth. Right now it is a 40-point advantage on the side of Complexity. As Quadrant, however, keep on tightening up on that advantage. They have the AB hold. Complexity with the sniper in hand, the fresh, full sniper in the hands of Suppressed.
2 go down, now 3 for Complexity. Suppressed with that sniper rifle is the last player alive, and love this play here with 7 shots, no less. Almost a full sniper to work with. Did not make the wrong decision to engage in close quarters combat, but now he's got some grenades to worry about. Suppressed staying alive with that sniper is a huge key for Complexity.
It is a key, but as you saw, the Quadrant they had for a moment there, the momentary triple cap still holding on to the zone advantage and at risk of taking over this lead. Meanwhile, Suppressed with this weapon, not finding any angles to snipe at. He's almost been a non-factor in the game for the last 30 seconds. In fact, once again, he's left running for his life. It's the back smack that gets the kill, immediately traded back out, and another trip cap for Quadrant.
Tusk, though, with as the last player alive, squeaks out a tiny victory parameter with that overshield. He may not get much use out of it. In fact, he's going to get stuck and go down, but at the very least, Quadrant didn't have it. What they do have is a 30-second lead after 94 straight seconds for Complexity. It's 120 plus for Quadrant.
An incredible answer back. They get the reset on A. 3 goes down for Complexity. Tusk is singled out as the last alive. Trapped in the back of B, the pings are coming through, and look at the noose tightening around this last survivor. Can he survive long enough? No.
And that's sort of like a double-edged sword there. Tusk stays alive, and you think to yourself, well, Tusk is doing a great job here staying alive for 5, 6, 7, no, 8 seconds, but he almost got to that 9, 10 second and died. All as Complexity, the rest of his teammates were spawning up. It's that miscalculation, it's that mistiming. And I should honestly say it's really more so Quadrant who's forcing Complexity into these disadvantageous positionings. And because of it, Complexity remains in the blender.
What an incredible run of points right here for Quadrant. You know, they were down 50+ points, and now they have a, 70-second lead and climbing. A great string of points, and that sniper expended of ammo. The majority of that sniper's life was in the hands of Suppressed, wasn't impactful on the objectives of this game.
I see nothing but bright red on the top left for Quadrant. That means all 4 of their players are staying alive. Trickles of dark blue for Complexity on the right side, and finally that dark red appears for Lqgend, no less. I'd say their best player, the captain. Quadrant goes down, and as a result, Complexity going to regain control of B and start the scoring, not before almost going down by 100+ and stopping Quadrant right before they got into the 200s. Complexity get it when they need it most.
Well, Quadrant, that was more than a 100-point spree of points there, and now Complexity are finding themselves in the opposite position, fighting back from a deficit. Now, credit to Complexity. They stopped Quadrant before that crucial 200-point mark. You like that plasma pistol track?
That looked like Aladdin in the movie, riding on that magic carpet. You see that swinging right, swinging left, curving around the corner. Gilkey unable to take down that overshield with the plasma pistol usage. He's still got it in his hands. He misses another one.
Oh, no.
Right shoulder of TchiK. TchiK not going to miss the headshot on Gilkey, but Suppressed cleans them up.
Well, unlike Aladdin, there's no whole new world happening. In fact, it's a familiar triple cap that Quadrant has secured. And now with 2 zones looking for, again, a 3rd trip cap at this point of the game spells disaster for Complexity.
As impressive as the start was for Complexity, it's been the mid and now end game that's been all Quadrant. We saw the first 100 seconds for Complexity ever since they've only scored 30 to Quadrant's 207 plus. An unbelievable run from EU's best.
Yeah, if this had been the break for Quadrant at the start, we'd be looking at a 215 to 30 score. Complexity, the only honor that they have in this game was that early string, that opening break. It hasn't been enough unless they have the clutchest of late games. Here comes the press. Heatwave looking more deadly even than that S7.
TchiK, you're going to want to press for that after Complexity down by so much that you almost need to start playing for those 2 ticks.
True.
The clock is C is going to regain control in favor of Quadrant, but Complexity has done enough to regain control of scoring and the map and that sniper rifle. We saw Gilkey pop off with it earlier. It's in his hands now.
Okay, this is crucial for Complexity. The control of 2 zones, the control of the sandbox. Gilkey is trying to defend A, but look at Tusk. He is so smart. He was playing. It wasn't Tusk. It was probably TchiK hiding behind the pillar there and using it for cover so that the snipe angle was cut off from Gilkey.
Using that pillar almost as a teammate, right? Say, hey, stand here, sponge this damage for me. I know you're an inanimate object, but I'm still going to talk to you like you're my teammate because I'll do whatever it takes to win. We are that deep into the tournament where the strategy has to be profound and maybe even a little weird.
KingNick and Complexity still have control of that sniper and eyeing the overshield, but do they have the time? He gets that repulsor play and the spike grenade cleans up the kill, but Quadrant had the numbers and they had the time to be able to send more resources. KingNick was really relying on winning that OS for himself.
Oh, this could spell trouble for Complexity in game 1. They had to set up on that overshield side, and SLG with the flick stick takes down his opponent, but Complexity 2-2 in the feed, tied even at advantage numbers. Gonna get a little objective efficiency to regain control of B, but no, KingNick goes down. Lqgend helps continue the scoring with a potential triple, has to press down to 1 shot with the melee, secures the trade and the triple.
SLG uses the repulsor jump to hit a sky-high snipe, and Quadrant soars to a Game 1 victory. It was the early game went to Complexity, mid and late game Quadrant with some domination.
Let's reset that stage again. This is for top 6 Quadrant, the likes of EU, tied. That best placing ever for that continent with a top 6 finish at DreamHack Dallas.
Yes.
And they do one better by taking down one of the hottest teams in the open bracket. That's a question for chat. I want to know what you guys think.
All right, chat, tell us what you think. Is it going to be Quadrant once again with a top 6, maybe even beyond finish? Or do we see Complexity going through the gauntlet of open bracket yesterday into pool play? And we mentioned this yesterday in those qualifying matches, the toll that the long days of Halo take on not just my vocal cords, but on these teams. And for today, Complexity has had a much tougher, longer day of Halo.
Yeah, we're going on 12 straight hours of casting, which means these guys have been playing 12 straight hours of Halo. And this is day 2, so this is compounded on top of a 12-hour run that we had on Friday. It's amazing. You can't question the passion of the Halo community because when the days get long and the nights even longer, we still show up with passion and energy, enthusiasm, regardless of how brutally tired we are.
Absolutely. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else, and I hope you all forgive me for my voice not being quite at 100%. Don't worry, Mikowski's got it covered. He's got twice the amount of energy dealing it back out, and I'm looking back at this. Quadrant did ice up in the end stages of that game, but I think it was really mid-game where the shift happened. It was the trip cap, and it was that 100-point spree of points that they took over the lead and some.
Yeah, I think that was such a definitive statement for Quadrant to go down 100-0 and then do one better on that run, accumulating what it was, 130, 170.
So. Yeah.
I mean, that is unreal. You think Complexity comes out and throws that first haymaker, but that was just a jab, a little 1-2 punch. Quadrant came in with that haymaker, knocked Complexity to the floor first, and they never got back up.
Well, it comes down to game number 2, and I believe you mentioned this earlier. In fact, I heard this as some taunts out at the main stage, that Slayer is for the amateur teams. I wouldn't call Complexity an amateur team, but a team from the open bracket or the underdog in this matchup at the very least. Is that Slayer advantage going to be enough to tie up the series?
I think this match is is super tight, and I don't think it actually matters whether you go from an objective to a Slayer. This Complexity roster, although forming just 3 weeks ago, changing out 3/4 of the roster, they have seemingly had what looks like much more time to practice and prepare. I'm actually not sure. I haven't got a chance to take a look at the coach for Complexity. Be very curious to see who's coaching him, but this gives me a chance to shout out a GM for Complexity, Nick Ashes. One of the most, not one of the most, let me rephrase that, the most winningest console FPS coach of all time. Now for Complexity, and he's been the one doing work behind the scenes to, oh my God, all the hoops he's had to jump through to form this roster. Complexity has gone through a litany of players, multiple different variations of this roster, but here they seem to have found some magic in some players that previously discarded a la KingNick. He's a great example of that. And he's playing with a chip on his shoulder and a perfect sight in his accuracy.
Yeah, no, the pickups here for Complexity, they kind of look a little bit scattered. I mean, because they are, right? They have 4 players that are from 4 different rosters. Tusk is the only Complexity player that has stuck with this. We have Gilkey from Native White, we have KingNick from Sentinels, and Suppressed, who most recently was playing with G1.
So I don't and it's ironic that the score is here 7-7 tied. Not saying it's going to last all the way and be a 50-49 finish, but going back to that question you asked, Magic, I don't necessarily give the edge to Quadrant in this Slayer or even Complexity because they're the quote-unquote underdog in a Slayer.
Sure.
I just give the edge to Quadrant overall because this is a team who has plenty of experience together. Complexity, they just formed.
Complexity being just formed, that's going to be a little bit of a disadvantage, whereas Quadrant have been locked in. When I watch Quadrant, when their style of play, they have incredible snipers like SLG. We saw it in the last game. We saw it in spades at Dallas. You have individual Slayers that can pop off, but the thing that I love about Quadrant is how locked in they are as a team of 4. It is a little more similar to that play style of like a Native Red, where they are very in unison with one another. And if they can capitalize on that, considering how recently Complexity has formed, that's going to give them the advantage in not just this game, but in the overall series.
SLG starting off 0-5, but gets 2 kills in quick succession to set up Quadrant for this rocket pull. And Sica able to pull it without really receiving much damage. And oh my goodness, that player for Complexity jumps over the rocket momentarily, but not before going down. All 4 down, in fact, for Complexity. It's a 4-kill lead for Quadrant.
A nice 4-kill advantage, and it was just a 2-point game. Now it's doubled up to that full squad wipe ahead. And TchiK has a player caught in the back of caution and in that dead end trap, nowhere to go, no room to escape. And KingNick, as the last alive for Complexity, singled out.
This looks just like game 1, where the last player alive for Complexity is able to stay alive a little, but he goes down eventually. Now KingNick does go down eventually, so I'm seeing that same exact push and focus from Quadrant to make these spawns sort of off-kilter for Complexity. They're never all 4 together. They're staggering spawns at such a consistent rate, whether it's live fire or streets. Quadrant strategy remains the same.
And I want to see if that strategy is what they continue to play with. It's even more, I think, obvious in a Slayer, right? A Slayer game type versus an objective. So if they are intentionally going into this as trying to get the staggered spawns, this is where it really plays out.
Wow, KingNick going AFK. He must have been taking a sip of Mountain Dew. Instead, continues on with this match. Glad we don't have a reset. Instead, we have a 4-kill lead for Quadrant. 2 players pushing up the P side. KingNick doing a great job to recognize that. Disengages, but then re-engages, goes down because of it. KingNick and Tusk are down. Numbers advantage for Quadrant. And again, it's 3 go down. Tick, tick, tick. Couple seconds later, Gilkey the 4th, he goes down too. Quadrant is playing methodical.
And the fact that Gilkey was taken down with that Stalker rifle, nonetheless, that high ground position. Now Stalker, high ground, map control back over to Quadrant, 27-20, and giving cover over that next round of rockets. If anyone risks to go for it, they're using it as bait. And now the breakthrough comes through. I believe it was SLG who finds the rockets in hand, finds 1 kill. The last rocket sitting at the bottom of B stairs where Sica is going to capitalize.
I love the Stalker control at the bottom of C, looking out through the entirety of mid on streets, especially when the rockets come up. Quadrant, it's been the strategy, right? It hasn't necessarily been any pop-off moments. We haven't seen any montage reel plays just yet. We've just seen that tried and true teamwork and positioning, and most importantly, the spawn control, which has them up 7.
If you can master the basics of Halo Infinite, you can beat almost any team here. And I say almost because I still feel like the top 3 teams have mastered the basics and a little bit of extra on top, whether it's stylistically, strategically. Quadrant, when you watch them play, they make such textbook game plans.
Top 3 teams in a league of their own. That is until somebody breaks through. Will it be Quadrant? Could it be Complexity, an open bracket team? Could it be Cloud9, another open bracket team? It's incredible that this deep in a tournament we have 2 open bracket teams that are vying for 3 spots left in what's been the most defined top 3 in Halo history. So again, a huge shout out to the open bracket teams competing with not only heart and fight, but a lot of strategy and skill set too. This is unbelievable, the likes of which we've never seen before from open bracket teams.
Yeah, I feel like we have more competitive Halo Infinite players than ever. I mean, we talked about the number of teams we have, but I want to talk about that number of players. The level of competition continues to rise, and that level of competition is being showcased here. Quadrant, now a 5-point lead versus Complexity. KingNick with the Bulldog is shut down once again by Quadrant. The team fire, and Lqgend with the perfect kill on the Stalker Rifle while under pressure, cool as a cucumber.
And Quadrant knew that KingNick had that shotgun from the P side of the map, was looking to push through, and those bait grenades exploded on the spiker stairs, took him down. Now SLG has the rockets to work with. They had the Stalker. The shotgun goes down for Complexity. Just as they got within 5 kills, it's busted back wide open to a 3-possession game.
And that perfect from Lqgend with the Stalker. 14 and 6 now is his stat line. I have to shout that one out. And you could also mention Sica, 10 assists. Now SLG being the rocket player. We saw him as the sniper in game 1. Now he is the other power-up weapon controller.
And let's point out another stat line for Sica. You might think, 4 kills, he's not getting too involved. Then you look at the assists, you see 10, you think that's incredible. But it's really the death count at 5, the lowest in this lobby.
True.
Sica doing a great job maintaining his life. He's not giving Complexity any kills for free, and it's a big reason why this lead is so big.
27 to 12. 27 to 12 is the assist difference between these 2 teams right now.
Oh my
God. And if
God.
assists don't tell the story, they certainly do right now. Here comes Sica, unassisted on the double kill.
Sica says, yeah, we got some great teamwork, but I'm pretty individually talented
Exactly
as well.
right.
Down 2. That first player had a little help. That second player was all Sica, as it's been all Quadrant in this series, looking to put a 2-0 stamp on this series.
11-point lead and just 7 for Quadrant to steal away. I can't even say steal. They've had control of this game from the start to seal away game number 2. It looks like KingNick is taken down along with TchiK, so still holding that 11-point differential, and Sica just suppressive fire, denying that window angle peek and using the drop wall for the extra cover.
Ooh, Tusk down to low shields, gets shot in the back of the kneecap.
Oh.
Looks like, is he going to stay alive? At absolute. He's peeking out again with the likes of Gilkey. Both those players low shields at C, and now with a 45 to 35 lead, Rockets up soon. You're kind of daring Complexity to try and take it.
Rockets are up now. Gilkey does find that opening pick, and Sica goes down as well, so Complexity should get control of this power weapon, but it's not going to be for free. TchiK is still contesting a distraction play, and Gilkey grabs the rocket to clean up a kill.
Well, there's overkills in the 4-down variety, then there's the overkill of shooting a player that's absolute with your rockets. Gilkey, though, with this massive lead, he doesn't care. He's just going for those final slays.
You know, sometimes you would see a player swap weapons. If they hear the weak call up, they might save that rocket. I hope that doesn't come back to bite Gilkey, as he has just half of that ammunition, just 1 out of 2 rocket left, and we see a brief slowdown. We're not really eyeing the clock at this point of the game, but the slowdown might make one team or the other a little bit antsy.
A standoff. 7-kill lead for Quadrant. It's on Complexity to make their next move. What'll it be? They have the rockets to work with. They have that B control with the likes of Gilkey and KingNick, possibly sending another 2 players down that left side of the map. That is correct. As it looks like you're going to see a split push here from Complexity. 2 down the right, 2 down the left.
The split approach. Does it work? Does it work? Right now, SLG is almost taunting this rocket, but he's tucked back in that corner. If he peeks at the wrong time, Gilkey is going to single him out.
He's not going to, though, because they're non-verbally telling Complexity right now, y'all are down. Y'all got to push us. If not, we got 2.5 minutes. We got water. We got snacks. We'll take a bite. We'll take a bite to eat. You obviously don't want to stand up and leave the setup yet, but It's, like I said, on Complexity to make that first move, and all the while that clock ticks away. It's almost like a fifth teammate right now for Quadrant.
Gilkey keeps checking that door on the side of PD, and wait a second, in 8 seconds, we're gonna have the next set of rockets. We might have 3 rockets in play at the same time. Gilkey with the ever slightest advantage. If he runs over it, he doesn't even have to button press to pick it up. It'll just give him 2 extra rounds.
And you've heard of the strategy as a student to use the quiz to take the test. Gilkey using the rockets to take the rockets, executes on that, and brings Complexity back to within just 5.
Oh my goodness, 2 rockets, 2 kills. Can he get 3 straight rocket kills? He's gonna miss on that rocket. It goes just past and out of the blast radius.
Oh my God!
Quadrant.
Lqgend with the bait and switch win. Just as it looked like Complexity was ready to mount a comeback, Quadrant is ready to make history.
Fire and explosions in the background, and Lqgend finds his way through to be untouched for the double kill. And now Quadrant just 1 kill away. Is it SLG camping at the bottom of the stairs with the Bulldog? There's a player, I think it's suppressed, just around the corner to his right. It's it! It's textbook!
2-tap for the win, and it's a 7-kill win for Quadrant. I gotta give credit, though, to the Complexity. They played that final sequence actually really well. The fact that the clock was dwindling away, but it was the rockets on rockets that really set up for a potential comeback. You felt probably the life in our voices come back. You could see it come back for Complexity, but it was not enough. And this points to the progression that Quadrant is making. You could argue that at DreamHack Dallas, they maybe fumble that game away. Here, they're looking stable.
I have a word for Quadrant. Composure. Because SLG, he was tucked in that back corner of PD for a minute, 90 seconds, not moving, not peeking. They kept their composure. They had the lead. They knew there was a rocket on the other side, and they were unshaken, even through the final stages of that match when I was starting to lose my cool.
I got deja vu right now. I got goosebumps because history is on the line. Quadrant looks primed and ready to match history with another top 6 repeat finish, starting to show that their floor is top 6. I gotta ask, Magic.
Oh, I like that.
What's their ceiling?
I knew that's what you were gonna say.
And they placed top 4.
We were hoping, we were talking about Quadrant at Dallas. I mean, they had to be one of the most talked about teams, and rightfully so, because they had been putting in the work. They had been prepping for this, the LAN season. At Dallas, they had the opportunity to get the historic 4th place, and they had to settle for top 6. And I thought, you know, maybe that was it. Maybe that was the ceiling for Quadrant. They're looking like even better.
Yeah, this Quadrant, based on the eye test, that's why I'm getting so stoked. This looks doable. This is possible. Quadrant playing tippable, and it could just tip them over the scales into that top 4 placing. And I'm not going to put a ceiling on it, Matt. I'm not going to put I'm not even going to put a ceiling on it.
I didn't actually answer your question, McCaskey. I apologize.
I'm not putting a ceiling on it until Quadrant does, because it's not out of the question that they could make it to Championship Sunday.
The only ceiling for Quadrant, 1st place.
Yeah.
It's not out of the question. It's not out of the equation to say that they could take it all the way to the top. Do I expect that to happen? No, but we don't know what that ceiling is. Therefore, you can't place it anywhere other than 1st.
This is a really good sign for Quadrant. Going back to that eye test, they're taking on a Complexity roster that sure came from the open bracket, but let's be real, they're full of players with plenty of pro bracket experience, have placed top 6 before, which is what they're vying for right here. So this is a very difficult matchup, you could argue, for Quadrant, all things being considered. And you talk about going into that next matchup for that historical top 4 finish. What better way to do it than taking down Complexity, the fellow newly minted partner team, both Complexity and Quadrant getting partnered in the offseason into this season. You can buy their new skins in the HCS store, and I got to imagine
they look good.
Winner take all, right? Winner take all the skin money. I don't know. That'd be an interesting bet.
I don't think all of the Halo skin money is going to be on the side, but there's no side bets happening. There's enough just in the game itself to want to win for here. As we head back to Live Fire, we saw that Quadrant won on Live Fire Strongholds in Game 1. Can they do it again?
Look at the start to this game. 3 go down for Complexity. Again, I'm watching Gilkey.
Oh my
he was the last player alive. And if they start Game 3 staggering Gilkey, they don't. Okay, but still, it's that 3 down. They consistently, Quadrant, go for 3 down, and you can almost argue it's better than going 4 down, because when you go 4 down together, you get get to push off spawn together like this, or go down for complexity. But I kind of like what Quadrant
who did they hand off the sniper to?
Staggered death again. KingNick, last player alive. He goes down. Suppressed, now last player alive. There, complexity is in a blender, and they've been so for all 3 of these games.
Okay. Everything you said, yes. What I was watching was the player on Quadrant that had Heatwave and Sniper, dropped Sniper at the bottom of cuts, left it there for 20 seconds.
Wow.
Secured Overshield. Overshield runs past cuts. Who's picking up the Sniper?
Oh!
It's SLG! And that's why.
With the crack shot through Snipe 1, that is an angle I haven't seen a snipe through. He gets the player pushing up from the mud. Back to the dirt. Killing spree.
That's why you dropped the Sniper on the ground for SLG to pick up. You could have tossed that Sniper anywhere on the map. SLG will find his way to the weapon, and then you see why. Incredible. You have to talk about SLG as one of the best snipers in the league.
KingNick and Gilkey were the difference maker snipers for complexity all the way up until this very moment, but now it's the likes of SLG and TchiK. You know, he's viable to pop off with that snipe on live fire. That overkill on Gamers First will live on in infamy forever. We know that this Quadrant roster is likely to pop off with the sniper rifle, but right now they're popping off in the score feed 60-0.
I don't even know if I've said the word yet. This is oddball. This is oddball. I'm so excited about the sniper plays and the power-up control, but meanwhile, it was TchiK on the side of Quadrant who has secured all 60 of those seconds of their objective time and is still positive in this game. It's going to be a tough road back for complexity, but they have the first step, that first hurdle, 15 seconds.
KingNick with that overshield, but it was previously melted down. Despite that, KingNick does a great job staying alive, taking one down with the melee, and he's sort of sliding back and forth in between A, moving horizontally left and right. Needs to start thinking about pushing up and forward for that new sniper.
Well, it looks like complexity is forming a line of defense, and as KingNick falls, it could be like a line of dominoes falling. As 2, 3 fall at the same time, now Tusk last alive, a familiar scene.
Tusk goes down in 3, 2, 1. Tusk goes down. This is...
You had that time.
This is... Again, I use the word methodical, like clockwork is Quadrant. The ability, this is some of the strongest spawn control, and it's not just by chance. This is not a part of like, oh, we'll just take 3 down if they're willing to go down, or we'll just take the 4th down. No, this is a tactic. This is a strategy. This is something Quadrant worked on between DreamHack Dallas and now, and it's paying off in spades.
TchiK is still alive. He's still alive. He had no shield. He was 1 bullet away from death, and he decided to stand on the edge and milk time. He might milk time for the last of this round and secure 100 straight objective seconds.
And he doesn't rotate too far from that edge of B, but I love that reposition.
100 seconds!
Edge corner here with that micro adjustment. TchiK is going to get the big win. 100 to what, 15, 16, 17 for complexity, and
28.
End the round. What do you know? With 3 down does complexity.
Oh.
That is a part of what Quadrant is looking to do to you.
You got to break this pattern. I think they ended up with 28 seconds, 13 for Gilkey, 15 for Suppress, but TchiK with the 100%.
Complexity's like literally never had all 4 players up in this series. And now again, they go 3 down, and Tusk, like a solo scavenger, looking to survive the improbable.
You know what I'm seeing here? We talked about this at Dallas. Quadrant losing to Optic on the rematch in the champ bracket. And said,
oh! Lqgend takes the face to Suppress, an unbelievable.
Oh, no!
The no-scope body for the killing spree. It's 3 down for complexity, a story you've become familiar with.
Yeah, drink some of your water bottle every time one of us calls out 3 down, and you're going to be the most hydrated Halo fans in the world right now. 3 down again. I wanted to go back to a point, okay? Quadrant at Dallas in the champ bracket, they said they got a little bit gassed, a little bit worn out, and now that's what complexity is looking like. This is the complexity we saw earlier in the day.
And we set the stage at 10 o'clock in the morning and told you to watch out for complexity at some point, running out of gas. They did a great job coming out with energy, heat, and momentum to start the day, but it looks like their trail might just end here.
And you have to give, you have to give the Quadrant this win, that they are playing to their process, that their system is in place.
This is Quadrant.
But I'm just saying that complexity is not looking the same as what we've seen.
I think, yeah, it's safe to say that complexity doesn't look like they did earlier in these series, but it's not to say that complexity is playing bad or that, they're not playing smart Halo. It's like, dude, how come you guys can't push up all 4 together? It sounds so simple to say out loud, right? Like, you might be able to talk with a matchmaking team. it's plays like that, and it's the strategy. This is something that you have got to watch out for if you're playing Quadrant the rest of the way. If you don't have a last player alive who knows how to play that sequence perfectly, Quadrant will place top 4 and make history, because this is so impressive. I have not seen the likes of discipline and methodical Halo controlling the spawn system like this ever before, you could argue.
I want to leave this conversation for now, just because we're seeing a little bit of pushback from Complexity. We're not counting this game out. We're not counting this series or team out. We're just admiring what Quadrant has brought to the table. And it's Lqgend using the overshield. Got quite melted by the use of that Needler. Finds the kill in the end. Only a 10-point difference here in round 2.
This is very impressive. -8, 4, -12, -15, -18 is Complexity in this game. But they're right here in it in round 2. That's tippable. The objective efficiency is there, but at some point, you've got to have the slaying prowess when you've got the likes of SLG popping off with a triple kill, looking to land those shots potentially on Tusk. Doesn't get the triple, but takes him down to 1 instead. And if you can clean Tusk up, it's almost like it's all part of that initial play.
Yeah, it might all play out. Look at the rotation here from Quadrant. They milked a few more seconds of the objective, and then they play it. Lqgend right now, 17-7.
Jeez.
No, wait a second. I was mid-sentence. 19-7 is Lqgend, looking for kill number 20. He is plus 13.
He has Complexity running for the water, seemingly looking for a vacation after the brutal beating that Quadrant has put on them in this elimination round 2. And now it's Sica gonna play that oddball. Love that, with a 2-1 margin on this match. Elects to play ball, but it's Complexity with numbers advantage. Q3 go down for Quadrant. Starting to see a little bit of that mini micro strategy from them on the side of Complexity, and that's gonna be enough to gain control of Snipe Tower and maybe even this lead.
Okay, they would need 20 seconds to regain the lead, but KingNick hasn't fully been able to rotate there to the Snipe Tower. As you called out, the contest came through, I believe, from the Nest side or the back of C Tower. So KingNick kind of caught in limbo here, actually playing with the oddball at the cuts, an unconventional place, but if that's all you're given, you work with what you got, and now Complexity are only 4 seconds down. Nick leaves the ball to go and secure the kill.
But Sica gets the overshield, so it's one of those situations where we'll let you get a few more seconds of oddball time, not enough to take the lead in the round.
Oh no!
Get that overshield, but it gets repulsed off the map. So Preston, Gilkey, Complexity starting to ice up.
I think it was the suppressed repulsor, although he was shot in mid-air, so we didn't see the mind the gap metal coming through. But here we go, lead switching over. Complexity, you know, we were starting to sing the swan song, and the Complexity said, we're not checked yet. We got a little bit more gas in the tank.
Complexity didn't hear no bell, and we didn't either, so they're still in it. But just as I said, that 3 go down for Complexity, and it suppressed the last player alive with oddball. He's going to go down extremely soon because of that. Almost like a flare, a signal shot up into the sky, alerting the enemy team of your location as he goes down quickly. Quadrant pick it right back up.
Okay, a little bit of a limbo mode here for SLG now with the objective. We might have let TchiK get 100 straight objective points, but in this round 2, everybody on the side of Quadrant has put on a little bit of time, adds together for them now. Just 5 seconds down. They're holding a line of defense. They have the numbers. Pings are coming through. Gilkey is there at the top of sandbags, and it's KingNick, last player alive. He's sneaking away the oddball for the reset.
There we go. There's a last player alive play from Complexity that puts them in a good spot. KingNick ultimately goes down, so Quadrant still gets what they want in that sense. Helps set them up for this next spawn control situation as they do control the spawns perfectly. And now KingNick, despite making a great play resetting the oddball, is right back to where we started, being in that blender, going 3 down, and then shortly after, what do you know, there goes KingNick.
The team fire on that push. SLG was part of 3 kills, only credited with 1. We're on his POV. He is the damage dealer at the front of the line, but it's the focus fire from the full team of Quadrant that is winning them back the lead in this game, and he's not done. He gets the perfect kill. They have overshield.
Just a millimeter of that overshield left, but important. That actually kept SLG at 3 shots instead of 2, as he would have been. Now gets up to full shields quicker because of it, and has a quicker line of sight towards that sniper rifle, takes it, and drops into the tunnel system with it. But no, Gilkey takes it down, but Sica takes him down just to look like Gilkey, the main sniper, you could argue for Complexity, was about to take that important power weapon. Quadrant shut it down.
Okay, Sica is shut down right now. Lqgend, he has the sniper here in the bottom subway tunnel of the map, but they only need 16 more seconds. So even at close range, Lqgend hitting his shots. He's at 29 and 11, looking for kill number 30.
5 seconds to go. Quadrant looking to put the finishing touches on this top 6. One final push for Complexity, but they're going to end the way they started and really look throughout all of this series with 3 dead at the end. That is, I can't wait to watch this back because I think this is going to be, this is one of those series you watch back to learn, right?
Yeah,
I think right now, it feels like everybody knows how to shoot, everybody knows how to play Halo, but Quadrant just showed us something a little different.